Hello there, welcome back and welcome to another review video. Today I am reviewing various bits from China 3D prints. So I've got this, a replacement Hawse pipe which significantly improves the accuracy of the Hawse pipe on the model. I've got this set which you've seen me use before, selection of doors for the superstructure of the model. I'm also going to be showing you this. This is a set for the well deck, and this is all the sort of bulwarks on the side of the well decks with a lot of detail added. And finally this, a full complete set of winches for the ship. All the winches you need to finish off your model. So without any further ado, let's have a look at these bits. On now to the prow Hawse pipe. This is a piece that goes right at the very front, right on the bow of the ship. And this is a Hawse pipe, and a Hawse pipe is a pipe which allows anchor chain to come out from the side of the ship to lower an anchor into the water. This is for the main central anchor on Titanic, which is the anchor housed on the forecastle deck. Unfortunately, Trumpeter kit doesn't do a very good job of getting the shape of this Hawse pipe. And I'll show you a picture of the real Titanic, and then I'll show you a picture of the kit's version. And it's one of the inaccuracies in the Trumpeter kit. And so this 3D print does serve to solve that problem. I've not decided yet if I am brave enough to fit this myself, because it does require cutting bits out of the hull and then gluing this in, repainting and so on and so on. So as I say, I've not decided whether I'm brave enough to do that or not yet. And this would be my only sort of caution on this piece. Note, if you buy it, it does require cutting bits out of your model and sticking this in place. So if you're brave enough to do it and you're confident, I would 100% do it, because it really improves the accuracy of the hull. If you're a bit apprehensive about it, I would maybe give it a miss. But it's a really nice part, and it solves one of the major inaccuracies on the Trumpeter hull. So the next thing to show you are these 3D printed doors. Lots of different doors for lots of different applications on the ship. This is a complete set, so you can get all of the doors that you need done. And I think, again, as you would expect from China 3D, I'm not going to keep reiterating this, but the quality is just absolutely fantastic. I think the single biggest difference between this and the doors I've been using so far on my model, and for reference I'm using the KA set doors, they are photo etch brass. The main difference is the door handles, and you can see them just sticking on the right hand side of each door. There is a door handle which is proud, and there's also a sort of plate that butts up against the wall. Now on my model so far, what I have done is I've just picked out that area with a sort of gold coloured paint pen to look like brass. But of course this is another level of detail up, and it's something that photo etch can't do because it adds a bit more 3D elements to the door handle. So that, I would say, is the main improvement that these doors present over the KA doors. I'll just pop a picture of my KA doors on the screen now so you can see what I mean about using the paint pen. But compare that to these, and they are a huge improvement. And I mean, with all of this China 3D stuff, I sort of look at it on photos on the internet and I think, yeah, it's nice, but it can't be that much better. You know, we're talking about such fine detail here. It can't be that much better. And then you get it in your hand and, I mean, crikey, it's so good. Like, just little stuff like those door handles, that's the kind of thing that I will look at on the model and I'll go, oh, that's great. That's brilliant, you know. So again, absolute top marks for these. Really nice. And, you know, intelligent printing around the side. They put a sort of protective wall on it, so you're not going to, you know, if you accidentally poke it or prod it, you're not going to damage stuff very easily, you know. So nicely and intelligently thought out as well. Just to give you an idea of the detail, that's an image of one of the doors on the model, and it does look really nice. Next we have these. So these are for the well decks, and these are the bulwarks on the sides of the ship, basically. You can see here the holes for mooring ropes, and we've got lots of nice detail along the side. And this again is an improvement over the kit, and it's also an improvement over the KA set. And really, a bit like the doors, I think the improvement comes from the modelling just being that bit more prominent. You know, the pipe work and the metal work and the rivets is just that bit more. It's just that bit more prominent. It's a bit thicker, and it makes it a lot easier to see. It casts a few more shadows, which makes the detail pop, and it just becomes a lot easier to see. These are really nice, and I think where these would become useful is the hull of the Trumpeter kit is very thick, and so if you could cut away that section of hull entirely and replace with these, you'd end up with a much thinner wall, which would be a lot more realistic. So I think these do a lot of good there. You got some additional detail here which needs to be cut out and added post installation. Finally, we've got the steam winches. So we've got the ones mounted on the forecastle deck, and we've got the slightly smaller and slightly larger winches that were mounted around the ship, some on the boat deck, some on other decks further aft, and so on. And the detail here is really good. Again, as you might expect from China 3D, the detail is superb. Here is one of the winches from the kit, and here is the KA winch which I've installed on my deck. And you can see the KA set and the China 3D are pretty similar. Probably China 3D has the edge. There isn't really much comparison though between the kit and the China 3D. And I'll just show you some of the bits that I particularly like. So you can see here on the winches from the forecastle deck, you can see the actual piston that drives the camshaft, which actually drives the winch itself. Really lovely bit of detail actually. And similarly on here you can see some of the motor and electronics that drove the winch. These are probably the best winches I've seen. They're not a step change from the KA winches, but they are an improvement. The detail, just as you always get from China 3D, the detail is just that little bit more crisp. One thing I do really like about this as well is that, and I'll show you with these winches and also these bulwarks, is China 3D have now changed the resin that they use. They used to use this stuff, which looks quite pretty, this sort of orangey stuff. But they've now changed over to using this deep grey. And why that is good is because with the orange stuff, light shines through it. So even if I were to paint this white, if I painted that white, I know the Hawser was black, but if I painted that white, light would be able to shine through the white paint, through the orange resin, and then out the other side. And it makes the white paint look a bit orangey. And certainly when I did my bridge, this piece here, I installed my bridge reasonably recently, and on a very bright sunny day, the white paint on the bridge starts to look a little bit orangey because the light shines through it. Now, what I should have done is to paint it black first and then go over in white, and that would have sort of stopped the light, but I didn't do that because I didn't think. But this is why I'm quite happy that they've changed the resin to a much darker colour, because light's going to have a much harder job getting through this deep grey resin than it would getting through the orange. So, well done China 3D on that, that's a big improvement. Right, I'll finish off now with some close-up photos of all of these bits. But just to summarise, I think these are all very, very strong additions to the model, each for their own sort of little thing. You know, the doors, I think, they really look more realistic than the photo etch, and mainly because of that door handle sort of being a bit prouder. I do think that they add quite a lot of nice detail. The hawse pipe, as I say, if you're brave enough, it is a massive improvement to the accuracy of your model. These bulwarks are a very visible part of the model. The well decks are quite obvious on the model, of course, and the sides of the well decks, just because of where you view the model from, are always quite obvious. So it is a big step change in detail in comparison to the KA set, and certainly in comparison to the kit. And lastly, these, I think the winches are a big improvement over what the kit has to offer, and a very small improvement over what the KA set has to offer, but they are the best quality winch that I have seen for this kit. If you want to buy any of this stuff, do just note that I'm not selling these. I'm not affiliated with China 3D or anything like that. I'm just reviewing them. If you want to buy these, my advice is to go onto the Facebook page for this stuff, and I'll pop a link in the description to that. The reason I say that is because you can actually speak to the people who are selling it, and you can actually communicate with them directly, which is much easier than sort of doing it via a link. If you don't have access to the Facebook page, though, I will put links on how to buy all of these things in the video as well, and you can do that if you wish. So, hope you've enjoyed it. I have certainly enjoyed having a look at these, and I've certainly enjoyed fitting these to my model, and hopefully I will enjoy fitting the rest of these things to my model in the future. Thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.